Oh, finally I'm getting to this fucking... Hey, how you guys doing? Big man Pete here taking up most of the fucking poster that I have. It's not even a poster, it's a fucking whiteboard. What an... Anyway, I'm going to be explaining the Five Nights at Freddy's series as best as I can without the community beating the shit out of me. You guys ready? I mean, I hope so, because I'm not fucking ready for this. Let me bring you up to speed on what Five Nights at Freddy's is. Five Nights at Freddy's is a horror game that came out almost a decade ago. I would say 9 years ago. And it's basically the horror equivalent of red light, green light. Well, it was at first. And then it became a series of... there's animatronics that could jump at you if you don't have a certain music playing, if you're not blinking the light in their face. There's a lot to this lore. There's a lot to the gameplay after the first one. And to be honest, kind of after the first one, you know, the guy who created the series, Scott Cawthon, I think I said his name right, experimented with other ways on how you could play the game. There's like the third, like for instance, the third one, there's one animatronic and a whole bunch of ghosts that like disable your equipment. It's not as effective as the first two. Then there's the fourth one where you're in a bedroom and you have to go to your bedroom door, 2 bedroom doors. I have no idea why this kid has 2 bedroom doors in the center of his house. No idea. And then there's animatronics that'll come to the door. You have to listen and hear the breathing. If they're there, you shut the door. You know, if you turn the light on, then they grab you right away. That one's pretty cool. Then the fifth one, which is called Sister Location, it just feels like a bunch of mini games. It just feels like you have to keep a door closed. You have to screw these nuts and bolts. That one's got some really good story in it. There's the sixth one, which is called Pizza Simulator, which is a free game, which was released to Steam. And that one's pretty cool. But in order to get the best ending, you have to salvage these animatronics that appear at your back door. Pause. That appear at the back door of the restaurant. You have to not salvage them, you have to bring them into the restaurant. And upon doing that, you find out, I'll explain it. Don't worry, I'm not telling you what they are. I'm going to explain, stop, don't do that. I'm going to explain them all to the best of my ability, but let's first get into the story. So the way the Five Nights at Freddy starts is that there are 2 people that this whole game is wrapped around. There is Henry Emily. Let's get that shit out of here. So we got Henry Emily and William Afton. These 2 men created the Fazbear Entertainment industry. Freddy Fazbear. There's all these restaurants. I had them all written down. There's too many. I wrote them all down because I knew I was going to fucking forget. There's New Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, which is in the second game. Freddy Fazbear Pizza. Fazbear's Fright, Freddy Fazbear Pizza Place, and like what the fuck? Like I said, I wrote everything down because I knew that my ADHD ass was going to forget. Wait, these 2 men started the Freddy Fazbear Entertainment industry. I'm sure that's not what it's called. Henry had 1 daughter. His daughter's name was Charlie. My handwriting is dog shit. Yes, I know. William Afton had 2 sons and a daughter. Mike, Evan, and Elizabeth. I know that they're crossing over. Excuse my handwriting. Let me fix that. Alright, that's a little bit better. So William Afton had 3 kids. Michael, Evan, and Elizabeth. Henry Emily had 1 kid named Charlie. Don't worry, this will make sense in a second. Okay, now that we have the kids situated, let's talk about these 2 gentlemen here. So Henry Emily, so because they worked at Five Nights at Freddy, they worked at Five Nights at Freddy's. They worked at Freddy Fazbear's. They had spring lock suits that they had these animatronics, which was called Spring Bonnie and and Fredbear. I forgot his name for a second. There we go. I don't have to mess this shit up. So Henry Emily was inside of the Fredbear, which is the golden Freddy kind of outfit. I'll explain that in a minute. And William Afton was in the Spring Bonnie outfit, which is like the gold Bonnie kind of outfit with the purple tie. So they were running the industry. They were making a lot of money. And Michael, this little piece of shit here, decided to play a prank on his younger brother, Evan, because Evan apparently was afraid of Fredbear. He was afraid of this one right here, and was like, oh, maybe you should go up and give him a kiss. So, yes, I had to go back and look at something. So, yes, Michael had Evan killed because he picked up Evan and put him in the mouth of the Fredbear while it was unmanned, while there was no one in it. So the animatronic slammed down and broke and killed him. Well, hold on. He didn't kill him right away. Chomp on his head. So Michael almost killed Evan because Evan was put in the mouth of Fredbear. That is an awful arrow. So this asshole, right? I don't think anything happens to him. No charges get brought up. But Michael Afton in the hospital with his son, because he gets rushed to the hospital, tells him that he's going to put them back together. And what does he do? He realizes he puts Evan, or a part of Evan, inside the Fredbear outfit, and then he possesses it. What? I had to clear the board up for a little bit. So, as of right now, the soul of Evan is possessing the Fredbear suit. I put that up there because it is going to come back later. So William Afton, his dad, as you read, probably not because my handwriting's awful, kills 5 more kids because he realizes, oh shit, I could do something and then possibly bring my son back, but not really bring him back because the souls of children possess animatronics. So he gets a little loopy and he kills 5 kids. Let's read them off. Okay, I had to write this all down. So here we go. So like I said, William Afton killed 5 kids. And this is all in like 1983. Let me bring that up. This is in 1983. And yes, the years do matter. There's a whole... I think it's in 1983. So 1983, his son dies his son, Evan, his youngest son, gets killed by William Afton's oldest son, Michael, because he's a piece of shit. And William loses his mind. I'm just recapping everything for myself, really. So William Afton loses his mind because he's like, I could put you back together because Evan is possessing the animatronic of Fredbear, who's Golden Freddy. I'm going to explain that. I said that already. I don't know why the fuck I repeat myself. His first victim was Susie. So her dog died, and William Afton lures her into the back of the arcade while she's playing a video game, and she's all upset and says, oh, your dog is actually in the back. He's not dead. Kills her, puts her in the suit of Chica. So Chica is his first victim, or Susie's his first victim. I hope you guys can read this. Then the next one, this is all out of order too. I forgot how this is. I think he killed Fritz next, put him inside Foxy, killed Gabriel, put him in Freddy. These are just kids. These aren't like lore-heavy characters. Killed a kid named Cassie, put him inside Golden Freddy, and then he killed a kid named Jeremy, put him in Bonnie. So he killed 5 kids, and only 5 kids. There's this whole thing that people think William Afton killed 40 fucking kids because there's all these animatronics. I wrote it all down, so I'm going to explain each variant of, because there's different versions of each character. I'm going to explain them. But yes, like I said, he's only killed 5 kids. There are different versions of these animatronics because their souls jump into so he puts them in the weathered animatronics who are in Five Nights at Freddy's 2. So those 5 kids, like I said, the 5 kids, you can go back and rewatch because I'm not writing on this shit again. So the 5 kids get put in the withered animatronics except for Cassidy. He's in the Fredbear outfit, or the Golden Freddy. Then that building shuts down. This shuts down in 83. Then they start another restaurant. I'm probably getting this wrong, in 87. And they started fixing the weathered, like the damaged ones from this one, and put them in new suits in this one. But it's the same animatronic, just new skins over them. Then, time goes on. I'm yelling, but I'm also confused. So then, William Afton, the original get taken apart by William Afton in FNaF 2 or 3, one of those, or the first one. They get taken apart, and then their souls get put into the new Fun Time ones, but they're not in there yet, or part of their soul gets released, and then they all come out and attack William Afton as a spirit, and then he becomes Springtrap. But I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Right now, I'm on the main course. I want to fucking explain this. So they go from the Withered in 1983 to the original in 87. They get taken apart by William Afton because they have Remnant. Is it called Remnant? I think it's called that. And it gets put into the Fun Time, which is in a basement, I think, under his house. I think that's what it is. Then they break out, or then they take each other apart, and they go into an animatronic called Ennard. Then Ennard goes inside of Michael Afton, the piece of shit. Then he goes outside, and then Ennard shoots out of him, goes into a sewer for like 20 or something years, then turns into Molten Freddy. Did you get that? I bet you fucking didn't, because I didn't even get it. I'm getting so fucking red and lightheaded. This is why there's only 5 kids that are dead. Don't worry, I'm gonna explain a whole lot more. I keep saying it, but I just want to justify. Let me say this again. The 5 kids died, and they're put in the weathered suits, which are the 5 original, but they're kind of torn down, this is in F2. This is in FNaF 2. The original are in FNaF 1. Funtime is in FNaF 5. That is a horrible looking 5. Fuck it. Molten is in FNaF 6. Are you all caught up? I'm trying to do my best. They jump from animatronic to animatronic, but then like I said, eventually the original spirits, or the spirits in the original suits, get taken apart to be put into the Funtime. Yeah, so here, let me, there we go. So they all jump around until they all get into Molten, and then at the end of FNaF 6, they all die. But there's one more game after that, and I'm going to get to that. Okay, so just to clarify this, because I'm still on the same topic, we're going to go through the different versions of the original 4 or 5 animatronic. Here we go. We're going to start, fuck this damn pen. We're going to go with the first one. The toys, which are in FNaF 2, are not possessed by kids. It's like Predator or terrorist, like, database, like, information in them and see who's, like, an awful person. And my whole theory, oh shit, there's one more kid. I completely forgot about, whatever, I'll do a whole, after this, I'll explain the one kid. Because it's Henry Emily's daughter, I just remembered. So the toys are possessed by a creature, I said a creature. The toys are possessed by an animatronic called the Puppet, who is Charlie Emily, who's the now dead daughter of Henry Emily. I'll get to that. They aren't possessed by the original kids. They are just animatronics that just are controlled by a puppet to kill the security guard. Oh, that's what I meant to tell. I forgot to mention that. In all these games, you're a security officer, but I'll explain that because sometimes you aren't, sometimes you're not. Sometimes you're Michael Afton, sometimes you're William Afton. I'll explain them. Toys are just controlled animatronics by another being, by another animatronic. So let's just get those out of the way. The nightmares are in FNaF 4. They aren't real. They are in the mind of Evan Afton. FNaF 4, you play as Evan Afton, who has all these nightmares because he's afraid of the animatronics, so he has all these dreams, and then towards the end of the game, he keeps dreaming about Fredbear and why he's afraid of him specifically, because he got killed by Fredbear, so he's more afraid of him. So, nightmares are done. Then we have the Phantoms. You probably can't read that. We have the Phantoms that are in Five Nights at Freddy's 3. They're not real. They're just spirits. They're just ghosts. They're hallucinations. Then there's the Band, who are these weak, wacky characters from FNaF 6 and 7. They're not really a threat until the 7th game. There's the Rockstars, same exact thing. They're not possessed. They're just animatronics. Then there's the dolls. There's Balloon Boy, Dee Dee, and some other one. I can't remember what all their names are. All they do is disable your equipment. They're not kids. There's the Jack-o'-lanterns, which is the Halloween DLC, and only Chica of the 4 is canon, and then I think Foxy, and then the other ones aren't. It was a Halloween thing, so those aren't dead kids. Then there's the Shadows, which there's like Dark Shadow Freddy and then Shadow Bonnie. They're just Easter eggs. They're not real things. Then there's the Glamrock, which is the newest game, and I'm not even going to get into that. That's a whole separate video upon itself. That's a... whew. I'll have to explain that probably way more down the line. But yes, these are all the variations of the original 4 cast, of the original 4 members. So no, he did not fucking kill 50 kids. Plus, while I'm erasing this, I just thought of this. Like, the other thing is that he kills all these kids, right? And he puts them inside these animatronics. And then like, they go missing. There's, like, police reports about them. They have William Afton. They can't pin anything on him. And, you know, these animatronic suits stink of, like, just dead people because the kids are inside the suits. What kind of fucking police force is just like, this man is involved with missing children. We don't know where they are. We can't pin anything on him. All we know is that they were in his restaurant and they all disappeared. But we can't pin anything on him. But ma'am, your animatronic suits stink. Like, what the fuck? Where does this take place? I forget where this game takes place. But what the fuck kind of police force? And that's what I mean, back to this theory. When people are like, oh yeah, he killed like 20, 30, 40 kids. How? Are the police force that dense? Are they in on it? Do they want their family members resurrected? I don't know, but I just wanted to bring that up while I'm cleaning this. Alright, so to talk about that kid that I forgot to speak about, so as I said earlier, Henry Emily had a daughter named Charlie. And at this time, like where I'm about to explain, William Afton's son, Evan, died at this point. So Henry Emily made a animatronic called the Puppet or the Marionette to protect Charlie in case something happens. Like, you know, because at this point, I think Evan died and then the 5 kids disappeared. So I think he made the puppet to protect his daughter. I might be wrong on that. That's what I'm going with. And then Charlie was at a birthday party at Freddy Fazbear's and got locked out by punk-ass kids. He has a bracelet on that the puppet, if she gets within a certain range or something, I think the puppet comes out and protects her and is always around her like her friend. So she got locked out of a party one day, and William Afton was driving by and saw his opportunity, and I guess out of spite, killed his business partner's daughter. I did not stutter. William Afton killed Charlie outside of Freddy Fazbear and I think stabbed her or choked her out or something and put her in an alleyway, and the marionette, the puppet, finally got outside because the puppet was not able to leave the building, got outside into the alleyway, and then laid on top of Charlie, and then, I guess, consumed the body of Charlie into the marionette. So, let me correct myself. William Afton has killed 6 kids at this point. In the games, he is an awful fucking person. He is a big piece of shit because he killed all these kids because he thought he could bring his son back. Well, like I said, or like I mentioned earlier, William Afton took apart all the animatronics and then put them into new suits in his basement, a distribution center in his basement, another Fazbear location. And as he took them out, the souls were kind of lingering in the air. And he was in one of the pizzerias, I think it was the first or second one, the third game at its new location. All these locations are fucking confusing. Anyway, the kids are haunting William Afton, and he's tired of, you know, he's getting, I think, a little scared, and he wants to run away from them. So he goes into his Spring Bonnie suit. Now, something I forgot to mention. These spring lock suits, if they get wet or damaged, they will close, even if you're wearing it. So, foreshadowing. So, he put on the suit, and it was raining and damp and murky in this building, and he put the suit on thinking, oh, well, you know, you guys aren't going to harm me because now I'm in an animatronic suit. Don't know what the fuck he was thinking. I'm not going to show you what happens to him. You could look it up because I'm not trying to make this video any longer than it needs to be. But he gets absolutely fucked by the suit because it, like, crunches him. It destroys all his limbs. In the book, I think Silver Eyes, it goes into detail what happens to him. He gets eviscerated from the inside out by this suit. I could go into detail about it, but I would be sitting here for a while talking about what happened to him. Basically, he's dead. So then he dies and he bleeds out in the suit. The kids disappear, and at this point in the game, you think their spirits are free. No, I think they go into the Funtime animatronics that I mentioned. He comes back to life. Now he's haunting this decrepit Springtrap suit, which is one of my favorite animatronics just because it looks cool. And I'm glad he fucking died because he's a fucking horrid man. So, now that we have that out of the way, let's talk about the fun time. I also love that halfway through me doing this whole video, I figured out I could raise my tripod. Wonderful. Anyway, going forward, yeah. Now the next thing I'm going to talk about is who the fuck you play as in these games. This is going to get confusing. So let's just start off with something simple. The way that the games are ordered, or the order that they're in, is Five Nights at Freddy's 4, then 2, then 1, then 5, I had to think about it, then 3, then 6, then 7 is at the end. But that's something I'll explain later. I explain a lot of shit later. I need to stop saying that. So in the first game, you are Evan. You are the son of William Afton. You are the little boy who dies. The boy who did not live. Got him. Then, in the second game, for 6 of the nights... So here's the thing with the title Five Nights at Freddy's. It's never 5 nights. It is 5 nights for the base game, 2 extra nights that are like super hard. So, for Five Nights at Freddy's 2, you are, for 6 of the nights, Jeremy Fitzgerald. Then, he gets bitten. He gets his frontal lobe taken out by Foxy. He gets, like, his head chomped. It's called the Bite of 87. Then the 7th night, you are playing Michael Afton. The game doesn't tell you that. Actually, no one tells us anything. We just have to figure it out. I'm going to give credit at the end of this to a lot of people, by the way. I didn't fucking do this. This is a whole bunch of research by the community. And I'm sure they're going to shred me apart, but that's okay. I want to dip my toes into this because I love the franchise. So, after that, then there's Five Nights at Freddy's 1, where you play as a guy named Mike Schmidt. And you are a night guard. You are Michael Afton at night 7. The reason I say that is because at the end of the game, at the end of these games, you get paychecks. At the end of night 7 on FNaF 1, you get one that says, terminated because you stink. At this point, Michael has died, or he isn't dead, or he is. I don't fucking get it. I guess the remnant's keeping him alive. And, then Sister Location, you are all Michael Afton. Five Nights at Freddy's 3, think you're Michael Afton. I said think. I'm not 100% sure. Then Pizza Simulator, you are Michael Afton. So the majority of the game, you are Michael Afton for the majority of the game. Then over here it says UCN, Ultimate Custom Night, which is the custom night mode which came out for free like a few years ago, where you could pick and choose what animatronics you want to go against. But there's actually a story behind it. And when you die to certain animatronics, they're talking to you specifically. And you are Michael Afton, who is in like this permanent hell purgatory held by these vengeful spirits. So I'm going to explain it just one more time real fast. FNaF 4, you're Evan. FNaF 2 and 1, you are security guards up to the 6th night, then you leave. And in night 7, in these 2 games, you are Michael Afton. Then Sister Location 3 and Pizza Simulator, you are Michael Afton. Then the final game, I'm saying final game because I'm not talking about the Steel Wool games. I don't hate them. That's just a whole, I have to figure that out. Then Five Nights at Freddy's 7, you're William Afton. You got that? Probably not, but let's move on! The reason that this section is much bigger is because I forgot to talk about this kid. So, like I mentioned in the beginning, because I mentioned a lot of fucking things apparently, William Afton had a daughter whose name was Elizabeth. William Afton designed this animatronic to capture kids. Obviously, Henry Emily, his business partner, wasn't having it and fired his ass because that was a bit of a problem. And I think that might have sent him over the edge, and that's what made him kill his daughter. So, just to have a timeline, Michael killed Evan with the Fredbear animatronic. William became obsessed with trying to resurrect kids and have their souls. So he created an animatronic called Circus Baby. Circus Baby. And that... What the fuck just landed on my foot? It was programmed to capture kids and lure them in with ice cream and balloons. Unfortunately, Elizabeth grew attached to Circus Baby, and William did not want her around Circus Baby because she would get kaput. She had a trap inside of her stomach where it would reach out, snag the kid, and pull it inside. So she got folded. She got folded like pajamas and got put into the suit. Anyway, Elizabeth found Circus Baby and was able to like hang out with her. And Circus Baby was like, "Oh, you're a kid. Time to snatch you up." So Circus Baby killed Elizabeth. Sayonara. Then in Five Nights at Freddy's sister location, the kids of the original 5 kids that died go into the body of Ennard. They get taken apart because they go into this thing called the scooping room, and they all get scooped. They all get taken apart. They get turned into Ennard. And then also Charlie is still inside the body of the puppet, who is hanging out at one of the Fazbear restaurants. So then Ennard becomes Michael Afton, and then they escape through the sewer and then take parts of other animatronics they find and become Molten Freddy. Elizabeth got scooped, who was in Circus Baby, and got put into Ennard along. So there were 6 kids, I think, inside Ennard. Then somewhere down the line, Elizabeth left and started putting together a thing called Scrap Baby because she loved Circus Baby so much. So sister location has Molten Freddy, Scrap Baby, animatronic called Afton, where it's just a more decomposed Springtrap, and then this animatronic here called Lefty, which was programmed to capture the puppet and bring Charlie to the final location where all these animatronics, all 4 of them, die, along with Henry, Emily. Holy shit. Alright. We're coming to the conclusion. There's a job application that is put out for a security officer at a Freddy Fazbear's location, which is a Pizza Simulator location. I put initials, I'll say them. Michael Afton applied for the job that Henry Emily put out for that location. And then every day, Michael Afton has to take these animatronics that are in the back of the restaurant that show up randomly and has to bring them inside and then do his daily routine of closing down the restaurant, doing the sales, and all that other jazz. Molten Freddy, I'm just gonna... So we're at the end of the game. I know a lot has happened, but we are at the final game. Almost the final game. Because the 7th game, I'll just do a quick little rundown. Molten Freddy are the 5 kids that died. Susie, Fritz, Gabriel, Cassidy, and Jeremy. That's who's in here. Scrap Baby is Elizabeth Afton. Lefty is the daughter of Henry, so Charlie Henry, or Charlie Emily. I put that as an H, excuse me. And then Afton is just fucking Afton. So everybody, 2 whole families, are in a restaurant. Then at the end of the game, you could look up the ending. To me, the ending to Pizza Simulator is one of my favorite endings in the series, and I think just in general, because everything is wrapped up. So Henry Emily has this whole speech, you could look it up online, where he talks about each person individually or each animatronic individually, and he sets the building on fire at like 100 and something degrees, because then that's when the soul could leave the animatronic and it melts them completely, and then they're set free. So everyone at the end of Sister Location dies. So everyone from the first game to Sister Location, I've been saying Sister Location, to Pizza Simulator are dead. Everyone is dead and everyone's put to rest, and that's Five Nights at Freddy's. It's fucking confusing, but we're not done yet. So we're going to talk about the final game. Don't worry, we're wrapping this up. So you remember when I told you how Golden Freddy and Fredbear are kind of confusing? Here's the reason why. So it is a animatronic and a costume, right? Like I said, in the beginning of the video, or the beginning of the series, they had spring lock suits that they are costumes and animatronics. Evan was killed by this animatronic. It's the same animatronic, it's just, I think it like deteriorates over time and it looks different, so they call it Golden Freddy. And then Cassidy was put inside the same suit, which is one of the random kids that he killed. Now, the reason that this is important, all the souls are put to rest, but there is still a soul that is stuck inside of Golden Freddy. And the reason I say that, they're stuck in the costume part of it. The reason that these kids are able to move with the animatronics is because they're animatronics. They control the robot. They control the endoskeleton. They can move around and grab stuff or whatever. One of these kids is possessing the costume. So at the end of Ultimate Custom Night, which is the final Five Nights at Freddy's official, by Scott Cawthon, I think he did it, because then after that is Help Wanted and Security Breach. One of these kids are still possessing the costume and is not put to rest. And in Ultimate Custom Night, whoever one of these kids is possessing the costume has put William Afton in this permanent hell purgatory because he's so vengeful and he just wants him to suffer for all eternity. So Ultimate Custom Night has 50 animatronics. Some of the animatronics are not even deadly, they're just static animatronics that are coming to life in this purgatory, in this hell. So William is constantly being killed over and over in like this infinite time loop. But if you are able to complete 50-20 mode, which is all the animatronics set at max difficulty, it shows a scene where Golden Freddy is shaking. And there's this character in there called Old Man Consequences who tells you, hey, you need to put your soul to rest, basically to forgive William Afton, but fuck that. At the end of the game, the costume is shaking and kind of rumbling. One of the kids is not put to rest and he's stuck in the costume. And my money is on Evan. I mean, I know all the evidence shows that it's Cassidy, but I think it's Evan. I mean, he didn't kill his son, but he kind of did, like his creations did. Like, Michael killed his brother with his dad's work, like his dad's robot. So I don't think it's Cassidy. I think it's Evan. I know everyone thinks it is Cassidy, but it's just one of the random kids that he killed. I don't know why this random kid. Maybe they'll explain it in the newer ones, but that's Golden Freddy, Fredbear, because it's the same thing. That concludes my Five Nights at Freddy's video. I know it was all over the place. I know it was a mess, but to be honest, the fucking series is a mess. So I want to thank you for watching. I know that this video is much longer than my other ones. Usually I do them about 15-20 minutes. But I love the Five Nights at Freddy's series. I'm going to read the books. I plan on reading them because I bought the whole damn collection last week. And then I'm going to read the Silver Eye trilogy. I want to get into the books. I think they're amazing. I'm almost done with Into the Pit. So I'm new to the books, but I've beaten every Five Nights at Freddy's. My favorite animatronic is Bonnie. And then I also like Springtrap. And then I like Fredbear. I also am now liking Golden Freddy more because I got more into learning this lore. But I hope everyone liked this. I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope it somehow helps you with figuring out the series and maybe getting ready for the upcoming movie. I'm excited for the movie. I can't wait for it. I don't think it's going to be as complicated as the game. I hope they go with their own thing, and I don't mind that. I like when there's different stories within the movies. Like, I like the Mortal Kombat movie. I thought that was awesome. I want them to do their own thing, because then that opens more doors. That could open to that could do a Five Nights at Freddy's cinematic universe. I want them to do a really good job on it. I'm going to see it regardless. Then I'll do a review on it. But anyway, these are my handles. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. I'm going to edit this. I'm going to figure out how the hell I'm going to get this from my phone onto my computer at a reasonable size. But anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time. You guys have a good rest of your day. I'm such a boob. Also, quick little last thing. I meant to say this. I want to thank MatPat, Daco, Windigoon, anyone, Jacksepticeye, Markiplier, anyone that put time. I know I'm forgetting a lot of people. Anyone that put time and effort into this franchise, you know, they're the ones that got this community going into the games, and I also got into the series because of them. And I think they're phenomenal what they do. I think the research is amazing, and I, got into the series because of them. So I credit them. I thank them so much for everything they've done for this community. It's amazing. And that's that. Now I'm done.